Hi there, boys and girls. How are you today? Have you had a good week? You know, we're into April now. Did you imagine that? Golly days, spring is really here, although it's been cold this past week a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah, there were some days it felt like winter again, but it was really spring. Well, you remember in our story, the boy and his friends. Remember, there were 3 friends the boy had. The mole was the first one he met. And then he met a fox. And the fox was kind of scary because the fox would like to have eaten the mole, but the fox was caught in a trap, a snare. Excuse me, and the mole chewed through it so he would be free. And then they met this other animal, kind of a big one. Remember that one? That was the horse, right? And the horse is a very wise animal. He said some things that really you have to sit and think about a little bit. And that's been part of it. So we've been meeting these animals, and they've been talking to the boy, and the boy's been talking to them, and they asked some questions, and then the horse said, "What keeps you guys going?" And the fox said, "You 3." Now that was neat of the fox to say that, because he was talking about the boy, the mole, and the horse, and he said, you guys help me to keep going. And the boy said, "Just going home." Now he wasn't home, but he thought about going home, and so he had hope of going home. And the mole said, "Cake. Cake keeps me going." Well, that's the mole likes cake, but then he changed to and said, "You know, I've found something that's even better than cake." And the boy said, "No, you haven't." And the mole said, "Yes, I have." And the boy said, "What is it?" And the mole said, "A hug." And that's kind of where we picked up on the story here. And you can see where the horse is kind of kneeling over or leaning over on the boy and giving him a little nudge. And if we go back, I had headed the wrong way here, but we went back a couple pages, and there was, I gotta go back one more. Yeah, yep, gotta go back 2 more. There was the boy giving the fox a hug, because that fox just felt kind of, like nobody ever liked him and stuff. And now he's met these other people, and they like him. And they're sitting, not on a tree branch, but on the back of the horse, and enjoying him. And it's neat because he says, "Nothing beats kindness," said the horse. "It sits quietly beyond all things." And that's what they're doing. They're sitting, they're just kind of quietly looking out at the wild spaces out there, and just enjoying being with each other. And all of that. So it's neat as they're sitting there. And then, remember, we saw the swans in the pond, and they just look so quiet. And the boy said, how can they be so perfect?" And the horse said, and that's where the horse is wise. He said, "But under the water, they're paddling frantically." Well, they have to paddle against the current. Sometimes the current will take them down the river. Sometimes it take them over to the shore, and of course they have to be protected. Now, a fox would like to eat a swan too, but this fox has learned more about being a friend than a foe to the others, and so they're there. And then there was this picture here where the dog's print was on it, and life isn't perfect, and that's one of the things that the horse said is that, well, no, it was the mole said that. Life isn't perfect. And then the boy thought there was a moon. You know what it was? It's a teacup. The author set his teacup down on the paper. I don't know whether he thought he was doing that or whatever, but he left it right in the picture, and it looks like a moon. Now, there is a moon over here, and they're looking at the moon, and I don't know whether it's the fox or who says it, but it says, "Be curious." And they're kind of looking up there. Well, I just thought this was so neat that it was there, and the mole says it's a teacup. And where there's a teacup, or where there's tea, there's going to be cake. Yeah, and he thought that was great. All right, but the horse giving the boy a nudge says, "Life is difficult, but you are loved. And I think that's a very special thing. Now, as we're going on, the boy says to the horse, "So you know all about me?" said the boy. "Yes," said the horse. "And you still love me?" "We love you all the more." Now the horse didn't just say he loved him, but he said, "We love you all the more." Sometimes knowing about us, we think, oh, if they knew that about me, they wouldn't like me. You know, God knows all about you. Knows everything about you. Even when he was with his disciples, he knew about them, and he knew sometimes they would fail him. That happened with Peter when he said, "I don't know who Jesus is," because he was afraid. Jesus still loved him. Loved him all the more because he knew about him. And that's a neat thing. Now, the boy said on one occasion, he said, "Sometimes I don't think you'll like me because I'm ordinary." And the mole said, "You don't have to be extraordinary to be loved. You don't have to be extraordinary to be important either." I brought this branch last week. You remember that branch? And it's an old branch. This broke off a tree, so it's kind of a dead branch. But you could find a live branch on a tree. Now, it's not as big as the trunk, and it's not as big as some branches would be on that tree. But can you think of some things this branch could do that a bigger limb couldn't do? Now, couldn't hold up the boy, might hold up the mole, but it wouldn't hold up the boy or the fox, and certainly wouldn't hold up the horse. But can you think of something? Now, if it was a tree like this, a bird might be able to rest on it, and there used to be another limb going off here, and they might be able to nest, but this would be pretty close to the ground. But if it's on a tall tree and there's a limb here coming out, this would be a great place to build a nest. But I have some tree limbs like this, and you know what I do? I hang a bird feeder on them. And the birds love it, because they can come and land on this, and then they get down there and they eat the bird seeds, and some of them have suet, and they eat that. It's an ordinary branch, but it's not ordinary for the birds. They think it's very special because it holds food for them. And you're very special. You don't have to be extraordinary. You just have to know that you are special and you are loved. Then the boy said, "Sometimes I think you believe in me more than I do." "Sometimes I think you believe in me more than I do," the boy said. What do you think he meant by that? I think what he meant was, you expect greater things of me, or you think I'll be able to do greater things than I think I can do myself. And you know how the horse responded? He said, "You'll catch up." You know, the horse was saying, "Yeah, we probably do expect more of you or believe in you more." I had some teachers that felt that way about me. They believed in me. Especially one was a music teacher, and I played different musical instruments when I was in school, and I ended up playing the sousaphone. Most of all, that's that big round instrument with a big bell on it and a marching band. She had me go to state competitions and county competitions, and I didn't think I was that good, but she sent me there, and I got to play in those bands and stuff, and that helped me to believe about other things that I could do, and you can do the things you can do. Now, sometimes you got to try; they don't just happen, but you have to try, and you'll be surprised at what you can do. So, in the Bible, God says through a man named Jeremiah, he says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans for your welfare and not your hurt, plans to give you a future with hope." That's from the book of Jeremiah, the 29th chapter. But that's what God said. God dreams bigger things for you than you dream for yourself, and I'm sure your parents have big dreams for you. Now, they want you to have your own dreams so that you fulfill that. But they have dreams for it. And it's nice to know that people know all about us and still love us. And we do love you. So you're going to have a great week. And there may be places where you can do some kindness this week. Maybe some places where you can do some things you didn't expect you could do, and you found out you could. And maybe you'll try something and you won't quite make it, but you'll say, "I'm going to try again." And you can try again, and again. But one of the things I want you to do is to have faith, hope, and charity. What's another word for charity? Love. Yeah, love. I want you to have those three because that'll help you to do ordinary things in an extraordinary way. Okay? We're going to sing that song and then we'll have a prayer. All right. Have faith, hope, and charity. That's the way to live successfully. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. Do good to your enemies, and the blessed Lord you'll surely please. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. Now don't worry about tomorrow, just be real good today. The Lord is right beside you and He'll guide you all the way. You must have faith, hope, and charity, cause that's the way to live successfully. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. Now, a couple of you had birthdays this week. I called you. Maybe the rest of you don't know who it is. But they were special people. They had birthdays. One turned 8 and one turned 19. How about that? And when your birthday comes up, I hope I have your birthday and I can call you because you're special. Maybe not extraordinary, but you sure are special. And that's important. All right? Father, thank you for this day you've given to us. Be with these boys and girls and guide and keep them, we pray in Christ's name. Amen. Bye-bye, boys and girls. See you next week.